My last night of childhood began with a visit home. Sigitoy's sister had given us 2 sterile eggs. Sigitoy gave one to my mother, brother, and sisters. She insisted that I eat the other one alone. It didn't matter. There was still enough to leave everyone feeling good. Almost everyone. My mother didn't take any. She sat, watching everyone drifting and dreaming without her. I lay against Sigitoy's long velvet underside, sipping from my egg now and then, wondering why my mother denied herself such a harmless pleasure. Less of her hair would be gray if she indulged now and then. The eggs prolonged life, prolonged vigor. Several of Sigitoy's limbs secured me closer. Sigitoy was the slick government official in charge of the preserve, and thus the most important of her kind to deal directly with humans. Though an official, Sigitoy was not interested in being honored in the house she considered her second home. She simply came in, climbed onto one of her special couches, and called me over to keep her warm.
You're gaining weight finally. Thinness is dangerous.
He's still too thin.
Leanne, I would like you to have what's left of Don's eggs.
The eggs are for the children.
They are for the family. Please take it.
Unwillingly obedient, my mother took it from me and put it in her mouth. There were only a few drops left in the now shrunken, elastic shell, but she squeezed them out, swallowed them, and after a few moments, some of the lines of tension began to smooth from her face.
It's good. Sometimes I forget how good it is.
I like being able to come here. This place is a refuge because of you. Yet you won't take care of yourself.
Sigitoy was hounded on the outside, for people wanted more of us made available. Only she and her political faction stood between us and the hordes who did not understand why there was a preserve, why any human could not be courted, paid, drafted, in some way made available to them. We were necessities, status symbols, and an independent people. It was a little frightening to know that only Sigitoy stood between us and that desperation that could so easily swallow us. And now Sigitoy used 4 of her limbs to push me away from her onto the floor.
Go on, Don. Sit down there with your sisters and enjoy not being sober. You had most of the eggs. Leanne, come warm me.
My mother lay down now against Sigitoy, and the whole left row of Sigitoy's limbs closed around her, holding her loosely but securely.
Not enough egg, Leanne. You should have taken it when I passed it to you. You need it badly now.
Sigitoy's tail moved, its whip motion so swift I couldn't have seen it if I hadn't been watching for it. Her sting drew only a drop of blood from my mother's bare leg. My mother cried out, probably in surprise. Being stung doesn't hurt.
Why did you do that?
I could not watch you sitting and suffering any longer.
Tomorrow.
Yes, tomorrow, you will resume your suffering if you must. But just for now, lie here and warm me, and let me ease your way a little.
He's still mine, you know. Nothing can buy him from me.
Nothing?
You think I would sell him for eggs? For a long life? My son?
Not for anything.
I should have stepped on you when you were small enough.
There was an old joke between them. They had grown up together, sort of, though Sigitoy had not in my mother's lifetime been small enough for anything to step on. Sigitoy was even introduced my mother to the man who became my father. My parents married as Sigitoy was going into the family business, politics. She and my mother saw each other less. But sometime before my older sister was born, my mother promised Sigitoy one of her children. Years passed. Sigitoy traveled and increased her influence. The preserve was hers by the time she came back to my mother to collect what she probably saw as her just reward for her hard work. My older sister took an instant liking to her and wanted to be chosen, but my mother was just coming to terms with me, and Sigitoy liked the idea of choosing an infant and watching and taking part in all the phases of development. I'm told I was first caged within Sigitoy's many limbs only 3 minutes after my birth. A few days later, I was given my first taste of eggs. I tell humans that when they ask whether I was ever afraid of her, and I tell it to Flick when Sigitoy suggests a young human child for them, and they, anxious and ignorant, demand an adolescent. Even my brother, who had somehow grown up to fear and distrust of Flick, could probably have gone smoothly into one of their families if he had been adopted early enough. Sometimes I think for his sake he should have been. I looked at him, stretched out on the floor across the room, his eyes open but glazed as he dreamed his egg dream. No matter what he felt towards the slip, he always demanded his share of eggs.
Leanne, can you stand up?
Stand. I thought I was going to sleep.
Later. Something sounds wrong outside.
What?
Up, Leanne.
So I whipped his 3-meter body off the couch towards the door and out at full speed. I left my sister and started to follow her out the door, though I wasn't very steady on my own feet. It would have been better to sit and dream.
Hold the door open, Don. And tell the family to stay back.
What is it?
Code.
Here? Alone?
He was trying to reach a call box, I suppose.
She carried the man past me, unconscious, folded like a coat over some of her limbs. He looked young, my brother's age perhaps, and he was thinner than he should have been.
Don, go to the call box.
She put the man on the floor and began stripping off his clothes. Send Key, I said. I'll stay here. Maybe I can help.
You don't want to see this.
I know, but send Key. He won't want to be of any help here anyway. I'll at least be willing to try. She looked at my brother, and he was staring at the man on the floor with undisguised fear and revulsion. Even she could see that he would be useless.
Key, go!
He stood up, swayed briefly, then steadied, frightened sober.
This man's name is Ron Lomas. He needs to go to say. Do you hear?
Brian Lomas. To go to say. I'm going.
He edged around Lomas and ran out the door. Lomas began to regain consciousness. He only moaned at first, clutching spasmodically at a pair of Tigatoy's limbs. Tigatoy removed the man's shoes, then his pants, all the while leaving him 2 of her limbs to grip.
I want no argument from you this time, Don.
What shall I do?
Go out and slaughter an animal that is at least half your size.
Slaughter? But I... She knocked me across the room. Her tail was an efficient weapon whether she exposed the stinger or not. I got up, feeling stupid for having ignored her warning, and went into the kitchen. Maybe I could kill something with an axe or a knife. Tigatoy would probably prefer something local, an oxy perhaps. I had never killed one at all. I had never slaughtered any animal. Tigatoy had been right. I should have been the one who had gone to the call box. At least I could do that. I went to the corner cabinet where my mother kept her large house and garden tools. At the back of the cabinet, there was a pipe that could be turned so that around the corner and a rifle could be stored inside. But this wasn't our only gun, but it was the most easily accessible one. I would have to use it to shoot one of the biggest of the axes. Then Tigatoy would probably confiscate it. Firearms were illegal on the preserve. There had been incidents right after the preserve was established. Humans shooting slick, shooting hosts. This was before the joining of families began, before everyone had a personal stake in keeping the peace. I went out to the cages and shot the biggest oxy I could find. I put the oxy's long, worn body over my shoulder and turned to take it to Tigatoy, then hesitated. I knew what was going to happen. I hadn't seen it before, but Tigatoy had shown the diagrams and drawings. And yet I did not want to go into that room.
Don!
I realized I was trembling, and it shamed me. Shame impelled me to the door. I put the oxy down near Tigatoy and saw that Lomas was unconscious again. She, Lomas, and I, alone in the room. She extended claws from several of her limbs and slit the oxy from throat to anus. She looked at me, her yellow eyes intent.
Hold this man's shoulders, Don.
I stared at Lomas in panic, realizing that I did not want to touch him, let alone hold him. Don't worry, I said. I won't shame you. Lomas began to groan, and he made choking sounds. I hoped he would stay unconscious.
I've shown you as much as I dared for now. When this is over, I'll sing you to sleep and you won't hurt anymore.
Please, wait.
There's no more time, Lomas. I'll sting you as soon as it's over. When Tigo's gift arrives, she'll give you eggs to help you heal. It will be over soon.
Tigote!
Do, Lomas!
Tigatoy glanced at him, then placed a claw against his abdomen, slightly to the right of the middle, just below the left rib. There was a movement on the right side, tiny, seemingly random pulsations moving his brown flesh, creating a concavity there, a convexity there, over and over until I could see the rhythm of it and knew where the next pulse would be. Lomas wept helplessly as she used his pants to tie his hands and then pushed his hands above his head so that I could kneel and pin them in place. She rolled up his shirt and gave it to me, and gave it to him to bite down. And then she opened him. His body convulsed with the first cut and almost tore himself away from me. The sound he made, I'd never heard such sounds come from anything human. Toy seemed to pay no attention as she lengthened and deepened the cut, now and then pausing to lick away blood. His blood vessels contracted, reacting to the chemistry of her saliva, and the bleeding slowed. I felt as though I was helping her to torture him, helping her consume him. She found the first grub. It was fat and deep, red with his blood, both inside and out. It had already eaten its own egg case, but apparently had not begun to eat its host. At this stage, it would eat any flesh except its mother's. Toy picked up the writhing grub, carefully looking at me, somehow ignoring the terrible groans of the man. Abruptly, the man lost consciousness.
Good. I wish you humans could do that at will.
She felt nothing. And the thing she held was limbless, boneless at this stage, perhaps 15 centimeters long and too thick, lined and slimy with blood. It was like a large worm. Toy put it into the belly of the oxy, and it began to burrow at once. It would stay there and eat as long as there was anything to eat. Probing through Lomas' flesh, she found two more, one of them smaller and more vigorous.
A male.
He was the only one to make a serious effort to bite Toy as she placed him in the oxy. The paler worms oozed into visibility in Lomas' flesh. I closed my eyes. It was worse than finding something dead, rotting, and filled with tiny animal grubs. It was far worse than any drawing or diagram.
There are more. You may have to kill another animal, Gon. Everything lives inside you humans.
I had been told all my life that this was a good and necessary thing. Flick and human did together, a kind of birth. I believed it until now. I knew birth was painful, bloody, no matter what. But this was something else, something worse. Toy found a grub still eating its egg case. She bit away the egg case, licked away the blood. Did she like the taste? Did childhood habits die hard and not die at all? The whole procedure was wrong. Alien.
One more, I think. Perhaps two. A good family and a host animal these days. You would be happy to find one or two alive. Go outside, Gon, and empty your stomach. Go now while the man is unconscious.
I staggered out. Barely made it. Beneath the tree just beyond the front door, I vomited until there was nothing left to bring up. Finally, I stood shaking, tears streaming down my face. I didn't know why I was crying, but I couldn't stop. There was a car coming towards the house. I knew it must be Lomas with Key, perhaps a human doctor.
Gone. What happened?
He crawled out the slow round, slipped convenient car door. Another human crawled out the other side and went into the house, the doctor. With his help and a few eggs, Lomas might make it.
Finally. Found out more than what you wanted to know, eh? What did you do? You puke? So now you know what you're in for.
Walked away from him.
Seriously, how was it?
Killed an oxy, I said.
You didn't run out of the house and puke because they ate an oxy?
I'd never seen a person cut open before.
Did you see anything? No, Mr.
Goat did.
If she had done that to me, she'd be the last person I called for.
You called for her. Her sting would ease your pain without turning your drugs into it.
You think I'd care if they died? Shit. I've seen what they do. You think this is the thing wrong with bad? It was nothing. I saw them eat a man.
You're lying.
I saw them eat a man. It was when I was little. I had been to the Hutman house, and I was on my way home. Halfway here, I saw a man in a tillet, and I was able to hide from them and just watch. The tillet wouldn't open the man, because she had nothing to feed the grubs. The man couldn't go any further, and there were no houses around. He was in so much pain. He told her to kill him. He begged her to kill him. Finally, she did. She cut his throat, one swipe of one claw, and saw the grubs eat a way out, then burrow in again, still eating.
His words made me see Lomas's flesh again, parasitized, swollen. Why didn't you tell me that?
I don't know.
You started to run away not long after that, didn't you?
Yeah, stupid. Running inside the preserve, running in the cage.
She won't take you, Steve. You don't have to worry.
She would, if anything happened to you.
No, she would take one Ho. Ho wants it.
They don't take women.
They do sometimes. Actually, they prefer women. But they usually take men to leave the women free to bear their own young.
Yeah, to provide the next generation of host families.
It's more than that.
If it were going to happen to me, I wanted to believe that it was more too.
No, it is more.
Do you think Sawab Tagoti was picking worms out of that guy's guts?
It's not supposed to happen that way.
Sure it is. You weren't supposed to see it, that's all. And the Tillich wasn't supposed to do it. She could have stunned him unconscious, and the operation wouldn't have been as painful. But she still opened him, picked out his guts, and even she missed one. It would poison him and eat him from the inside out.
I walked away hating him. In this way, he was gloating. He was safe, and I wasn't.
Look, it probably won't be that bad for you. Tagoti likes you. She'll probably be careful.
I turned back to the house, almost running from him.
Has she done it to you yet? I mean, you're right about the age transplantation. Has she?
I hit him. I didn't know I was going to do it, but I think I meant to kill him. If he hadn't been bigger and stronger, I think I would have. He only hit me a couple of times. That was plenty. I don't remember going down. When I came to, he was gone. It was worth the pain to be rid of him. I got up and walked slowly toward the house. And once I was in the kitchen, I could hear voices, quick and human, in the next room. I couldn't make out what they were saying. I didn't want to make it out. I sat down at my mother's table, waiting for quiet. The table was smooth and worn, heavy and well crafted. My father had made it for her just before he died. I remember hanging around underfoot when he built it. He didn't mind. Now I sat leaning on it, missing him. I could have talked to him. He had done it 3 times in his long life. 3 clutches of eggs. 3 times being opened up, sewed up. How had he done it? How did anyone do it? I got up and took the rifle from its hiding place and sat down again with it. It needed cleaning, oiling. All I did was load it.
Done?
She made a lot of little clicking sounds when she walked on the bare floor. Waves of little flicks. She came to the table. Sometimes she moved so smoothly, she seemed to flow like water itself.
That was bad. You should not have seen it. It need not be that way.
I know.
She goes gift now. She will die of her disease. She will not live to raise her children, but her sister will provide for them, and for Grandmama.
To live then?
Yes.
I wonder if he would do it again.
No one would ask him to do that again.
No one ever asks us. You never asked me.
What's the matter with your face?
Nothing. Nothing important.
Did you use the rifle to shoot the oxy?
Yes.
And do you need to use it to shoot me?
I stared at her. Outlined in the moonlight, cold, graceful body. What does human blood taste like to you, Anna? What are you? What are we to you?
You know me as no other does. You must decide.
That's what happened to my face.
What?
He goaded me into deciding to do something. It didn't turn out very well. I moved the gun slightly, brought the barrel up diagonally under my own chin. At least it was a decision I made.
As this will be
Ask me, Gatoy.
for my children's lives.
She would say something like that. She knew how to manipulate people, human and sex. But not this kind of thing. I don't want to be a host animal, not even yours.
We use almost no host animals these days. You know that.
You use us.
We do. We wait long years for you and teach you to join our families to yours. You know you aren't animals to us. The animals we once used began killing most of our eggs long before your ancestors arrived. Because your people arrived, we are relearning what it means to be healthy, thriving people. And your ancestors fleeing from our homeland, where their own kind would have been killed or enslaved them, your ancestors survived because of us. We saw them as people and gave them the preserve. I see. Would you really rather die than bear my young gun?
I didn't answer.
Shall I go to Wanho?
Yes. Ho wants it. Let her have it. She didn't have to watch Lomas. She'd be proud, not terrified. So I'd float off the table onto the floor.
I'll sleep in Ho's room tonight, and sometime tonight or in the morning I'll tell her.
This is going too fast. My sister Ho had almost as much to do with raising me as my mother. I was still close to her, not like he. Wait, Gatoy?
These are adult things, Don. This is my life, my family.
But she's my sister.
I have done what you demanded. I have asked you.
But
It will be easier for Ho. She has always expected to carry other lives inside of her.
they're human lives. Human young who should someday drink at her breast, not at her veins. I shook my head. Do it to her, Gatoy. Do it to me. I lowered the gun from my throat, and she leaned forward to take it. No, I told her.
It's the law. Leave it for the family. One of them must use it to save my life someday.
She grasped the rifle barrel, but I wouldn't let it go. I was pulled into a standing position over her. Leave it here, I said. If we're not your animals, if these are adult things, accept the risk. There is risk, Gatoy, in dealing with a partner. It was clearly hard for her to let go of the rifle. A shudder went through her, and she made a hissing sound of distress. She was old enough to have seen what guns could do to people.
I will implant the first egg tonight. Do you hear them?
I feel it.
Now.
I let her push me out the kitchen, and we walked ahead toward my bedroom. You would have done it to Ho tonight?
I must do it to someone tonight.
I stopped in spite of her urgency and stood in her way. Don't you care who? She flowed around me and into my bedroom. I found her waiting on the couch we shared. I undressed, lay down beside her. I knew what to do, what to expect. I'd been told all of my life. I felt that familiar sting, narcotic, mildly pleasant. Then the blind probing of her ovipositor. The puncture was painless, easy, so easy going in. She undulated under me, against me, her muscles forcing the egg from her body into mine. I held onto a pair of her limbs until I remembered Lomas holding her that way. And then I let go, moved inadvertently, and hurt her. She gave a low cry of pain. I'm sorry. She rubs my shoulders before it moves. Do you care? Do you care that it's me? She did not answer for some time.
You were the one making the decisions tonight, John. I made mine long ago.
Would you have gone to Ho?
Yes. How could I put my children into the care of someone who hates them?
It wasn't hate.
I know what it was.
I was afraid.
But you came to me. to save Paula.
Yes. I leaned my forehead against her. She was cool, velvet, deceptively soft. And keeping to myself, I said. It was so. I didn't understand it, but it was so.
I couldn't believe I had made such a mistake with you. I chose you. I believed you had grown to choose me.
I had, but
Lonely.
yes.
I had never known a human to see a birth and take it well. He has seen one, hasn't he?
Yes.
Humans should be protected from seeing.
I didn't like the sound of that, and I doubted it was possible. Not protected, shown. Shown when we're young kids, and shown more than once, Victoria. No human ever sees the birth that goes right. All we see is post, pain, and terror, maybe death.
It is a private thing. It has always been a private thing.
Her tone kept me from insisting, but I planted the thought in her mind. Chances were it would grow, and eventually she would experiment.
You won't see it again. I don't want you thinking any more about shooting me.
Small amount of fluid that came into me with her egg relaxed me completely. I could remember the rifle, my feelings of fear, revulsion, anger, despair. I could remember the feelings without reviving them. I wouldn't have shot you. Not you.
You could have.
Not you.
Would you have destroyed yourself?
I could have done that. Nearly did. That keys away. Never to know.
What? You will live now.
Yes. Take care of her, my mother used to say. Yes.
I'm healthy and young. I won't leave you as long as you've left alone. I'll take care of you.
Ta-da.